What's up, everybody? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. And since yesterday we cleared the best centers out of the way, it's time to meet the rest, as it were. So we've got some centers that I don't think will go in the top 100. I don't think they're going to go in the first 2 days. Look for them on day three. And obviously, when you get down to this level, you know you're not likely to find a starting caliber player in year one. If you do, then you either did your job really, really well or you got really, really lucky. And honestly, at this point, I'm not really sure what the outlook at the center position is for this team right now. I don't know how much they like Oluwatimi, and I don't know how much they value Nick Harris. So it's kind of hard to get a read into that right now. But realistically, I don't know if any of these day three guys that we're going to go over today are realistic candidates to take over for one of our starters, be it, or one of our rostered centers, I should say. Oluwatimi and Nick Harris, say what you will, they have at least a little NFL experience. I know it's not a lot, but it's a little. And that's going to provide a significant advantage over most of these guys. And honestly, for my money, a lot of these guys are not really that compelling as prospects. But let's do what we can here. Let's figure it out the best that we can. And we are going to start with a pretty fun one. I will say that. Tanor Bortolini, he's not exactly somebody that I'm viewing as a potential year one starter, but this is an example of a day three guy that might actually be some fun. He's from Wisconsin, which usually produces mauling centers, guys who play in a phone booth, guys who are all about strength and muscle. But Bortolini, that's not really the way that he plays. That's really not what he's going to be doing at the NFL level. Bortolini is a very, very rare specimen here. And if you were to decide to address the center position here with a day three pick, this is definitely the guy you would want to do it with. 6'4", 303 pounds, short arms, 31.5 inches, I know. 10-inch hands, though. That's nice. The testing numbers are off the charts. He is an insanely good athlete for a guy who's 300 pounds plus. His 40 time sub 495, incredible for a center. 10-yard split, 169, 32.5-inch vert, 9'4" 4-inch broad. The guy is, I can't believe the stuff he did at the combine a couple weeks ago. His three cone was almost off the charts for a center, 99th percentile, 7.16 three cone. 20-yard shuttle is 97th percentile. And kind of on brand here, his bench press was 17th percentile, not very good. So that kind of gives you a little bit of an inclination of what kind of player this is. This is a guy who wins on his agility and mobility and his ability to move in space. So not going to necessarily win just on strength. Not too many big boards have him yet. I think that's about to change. ESPN was the only one that had him where I think he's going to land. Of the major ones, they had him up in the fourth. CBS had him undrafted. PFF had him in like the sixth or seventh round. The mock draft database, I think, is kind of caught up to the general perception. They have him going in the fourth round, maybe early fifth. I think he'll end up going in the fourth round probably because these testing numbers are just off the chain. His play at Wisconsin was mostly pretty good. PFF grades were fine, although they did regress non-trivially in 2023, which is kind of weird. But he allowed one sack in each of the last 2 years. He did allow significantly more hurries, but it's still only 8 in 2023 compared to 2022. So you can see a little bit of a 2023 regression, but overall still a good player. And more exciting is the lump of clay that you have with a guy like Bortolini that could be molded into something. It would be fair to say this guy is historically athletic for a center. If you want to try to find the next Jason Kelsey, you might not be able to, but this Bortolini guy has a chance. This guy is a special, rare, unique athlete, man. He might be able to offer some guard depth as well, which would be really nice for the Seahawks. If you look at him and say, hey, he can slide over to left guard in a pinch, maybe this is a guy that you jump on for that purpose, and then you groom him to be a center down the line because that's probably his best position. He maximizes his somewhat limited strength well by using some pretty good technique. Even though he's not that strong, I do feel like he gets the most out of the strength that he does have. He's really good at combo blocking. He's really good at being one of those guys who helps on like a nose tackle and gets him going where he needs to go. He's somebody who really understands how to lay those combo blocks. He's got more leg drive than you would think for an undersized center that looks like he's made to be a zone scheme center. And he is more than athletic enough to zone block, as these testing numbers should indicate. So the things that are cool about Bortolini are clear. Now, granted, to a certain extent, you are hoping that he becomes a better player than he was in college, because in college he was a good center, but he wasn't some elite center prospect that is now being looked at as like a second or third round pick. He's a guy who's kind of recently caught on. So if you're looking for issues with him, they're also pretty obvious. He doesn't have great strength. He's not somebody who's going to be able to take on a nose tackle just straight up. His lateral movement, obviously it's quick, but it's a little bit awkward. And sometimes he does get off balance. He bends at the waist a little bit. He struggles to sink his hips to win leverage battles. So there are some technique things he needs to clean up a little bit here. Being at 6'4", you really need to be able to sink your hips and get low if you want to win those leverage battles. And while he's capable of moving great, he needs to become a little smoother in the way that he moves when he's on a football field. So there's some stuff that needs to be worked on, but he's very, very talented. He's very raw, and he's got a lot to learn before he can start really playing, probably. I think he's going to need probably the offseason and some of the season to get geared up. He's got some stuff to clean up on, like the balance. That's going to be a big problem if he's playing in space a lot. But there is a very exciting amount of potential here with Bortolini. There's a part of me that wants to say third round, but that feels like a sucker thing. It feels like he's sucking you in with his test numbers, and then you get him and you realize, oh, this is not a day 2 guy. So I'm going to wait for the 4th on him, and if somebody wants to reach, then I guess I'll let him do it. But yeah, it just feels like he's trying to like lure you in with the promise of amazing testing numbers, but then you get him and you're like, oh, he's really, really raw and he's going to take some time to get good. All right, next center we're going to look at here, another guy who's kind of gaining attention, partially because of what he did at the Combine, Beaux Limmer. Arkansas, 23 years old. This is the other guy who I think did himself some favors at the Combine along with Bortolini and has now become a name to keep an eye on. 6'5", 302 pounds, pretty good size, 31 and 7/8 inch arms, 9.5 inch hands. His 40-yard dash was okay. His 10-yard split was pretty good. But things got really exciting when he jumped. 36.5 inch vertical, 9'2" broad, very explosive. Good 3-cone, real good 3-cone. Pretty good 20-yard shuttle, and 39 bench press reps, 99th percentile. You almost never see an offensive lineman of any kind get up to 40 bench press reps. He got to 39, which for the position, according to Mock Draftable, is right up there with the all-timers. So the dude is strong. The dude has muscle to burn. Big boards, PFF has him 4th. ESPN has him in the 4th. CBS has him in the early 5th. Walter Football has him in the 4th. Draft Network has him in the 3rd. They really like him. And the database has him in the 4th. So that seems to be about where it's estimated. Over the last couple years, pretty good PFF grades. He has given up a lot of sacks and a decent amount of hurries, but graded fairly well. So, Beaux Limmer, he's mostly a run blocker right now. He's mostly a run blocker, which is represented well in the fact that he gives up a decent amount on his quarterbacks. But the run blocking is pretty on point. He's got a ton of experience against top competition. Remember, he's playing in the SEC, which means you're playing against some really, really good defenses, some really good defensive linemen. He offers some guard flexibility, which would be a big deal for the Seahawks if they take him, or pretty much any center. They want somebody who can also play some guard. He's cerebral with his pre-snap and post-snap decisions. He's somebody who really understands how to, handle twists and stunts and blitzes, and knows how to set up blocking assignments for his teammates, understands how to use angles to help win at the point of attack. Somebody who seems to have a good understanding of how to use angles to overcome disadvantages in other areas. He generates really good drive in the run game. He blows defenders off the ball. Phenomenal strength, very explosive. He's very capable at the second level, I think. I think that is something that he showed at Arkansas he can do. Now, he is slow getting off the snap, I feel like. The time it takes for him to go from snapping the ball to getting his head up to actually start blocking is a little longer than you would like. His movement in space is not smooth. It's not terrible or anything. It's not bad, but it's not smooth. He's not a true zone fit. He needs to improve himself as a pass protector. His fundamentals and technique in pass protection are just not good. Like his hand placement, it's rough, needs some work. His lateral movement when mirroring rushers, is sluggish. So he's somebody who will struggle to deal with a more athletic three-tech type. So pass rushers are going to give him trouble, especially the athletic defensive linemen. So, I mean, I like him a lot, but there is some stuff that's going to have to come through here. I think that he might be a guy who can just kind of plug into the right offense immediately. But if you're going to try to be pass happy at all, if you're going to be a pass first offense, which the Seahawks probably will be, it's just not really a great fit. And I do suspect that his ultimate fate is to be a mauler. So I view him as more of a gap scheme fit. So I'd say take him at any time on day 3. Once day 3 kicks off, it's open season on Limmer. But for the Seahawks, I'm waiting a little bit more to see if he falls because I just don't think he's a great fit for what we're going to be trying to do. So that would be my take on Beaux Limmer. Those are a couple more centers that I think are going to go relatively early day 3. Let me know what you guys think down below. I will see you guys later. Go Hawks. Going to look at some more centers later today.